We're going to go back to Sindy, who is on Platform 6 at Park Station in the Johannesburg CBD. Sindy, over to you.
Thank you so much, William, and thank you to our viewers for staying with us. We're now joined by Ntate Moses Nagedi. He is the chairperson of the Commuters Association, and really drawing from his well of wisdom. The organization was started in 1996, and it represents the Greater Gauteng and its commuters. Welcome, Nagedi, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
I mean, the importance of organizing commuters, why was the formation started?
The main reason of organizing commuters was that, commuters used to arrive late at work in regard to trains being late and so on, and we had to form a committee that would approach PRASA management, Metro Rail at that time, to solve the challenges that we are facing as a commuters in the country, and we had to sit down with management of Metro Rail and solve all those problems that are facing commuters at large in Gauteng.
Yeah, and you spoke as one voice, but of course there's power in numbers. How many members did you have at the time, and what kind of interventions did you bring about to make sure that your commuters are not running late for work?
Well, we had quite a number of commuters. We have committees in the Randfontein corridor, we had committees in Vereeniging corridor, we had committees in the Naledi corridor, we have committees in Springs, Nigel, and Tshwane, the entire Gauteng at that time. But each committee would represent the commuters that travel from point A to point B, from Naledi to Joburg and so on and so on. The Faradays and the Westgate areas.
Yeah, and some of those train stations don't even exist anymore, as we heard earlier on, because of vandalism and theft and just sheer mismanagement, I guess. Over the years, how have you seen things progress or maybe even deteriorate?
Over the years, generally, there have been lack of security in regard to protecting the assets of PRASA at that time of Metro Rail. So when COVID came, things became more worse. People started vandalizing the stations, like you were saying earlier. Westgate Station and Faraday Station are no more there. PRASA have to go and re-look into the whole matter and rebuild the station again.
And rebuild the station to rebuild South African economy, because this is the nerve center of ferrying goods and passengers alike. The importance of this particular infrastructure cannot be overemphasized.
Absolutely. The most important that, train is still the cheapest mode of transport. That's why you see commuters coming in great numbers. They are coming in big numbers to come and use trains, because with taxis, a taxi from Naledi would cost you about 26 rand. Here from Naledi by train is about 8 rand 50. So it's still the cheapest mode of transport.
Yes,
so
sorry, Renakeri, also to give you access to the big city. Myself being from Guatemala Springs, we used to take the train from New Era, and then I think Brakpan, and then go Germiston to board a train that will bring you to Joburg. We used to come to Joburg almost like twice a year. That's how big a marvel it was. You had to prepare and commute. But this was when the infrastructure was not so coordinated. But the train is not just there for people to go to work and back. As you're saying, it's a cheap form of transportation, but it's also something that you can use for leisure, for travel, as we see into other cities.
Indeed, you're right, because currently, even now, we are still negotiating with PRASA. These trains, the current trains are running Monday to Friday. We are still continue with management that trains should start operating on a Sunday. There are people who would like to travel in these trains, especially young children, kids. There are families who would like to use these trains coming to town and so on and so on. But because of their unavailability, they can't come to Joburg on Saturday. So if it's operating on Saturday, it would be just excellent.
Yes. And your organization in getting that particular I suppose, extension of the services. How strong of a voice do you have with PRASA to make this accessible to young people as well, over the weekends in particular?
We do. We do. We sit down with PRASA and discuss about all the things that affect commuters. Even you know, the train that I'm currently traveling in the morning, there are school kids who are saying, you know, we would like to become, in the near future, become employees of PRASA. You know, they are getting excited about traveling. These trains got special coaches for school kids. I don't know whether you are aware of that. Have you been?
I wasn't aware. I think in my day we still had first class, third class, that kind of setup,
yes.
which obviously segregated. But in your message to young people, and I guess, and now that we are celebrating Youth Month, how do you sustain yourself? You're a volunteer in this organization since 1996. One, how do you sustain yourself, and what keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated is the passion to be able to help commuters. You know, I remember a few years ago my wife would complain and say, but what is PRASA giving you? Why do you have to wake up so early in the morning? But it is because of the passion that, you know, one would like to help. And the youth of this country is that, you know, we are saying to them, let us protect these current trains that we are using. You know, these are the future trains for our grandchildren. Anything that happens, you know, vandalism, we would like to do away with vandalism in these trains, you know. Yeah. They are just a magnificent type of mode of transport that we are currently using. We've never seen such beautiful trains in our country, you know.
All right, thank you so much for the inspiration, Moses Naledi from Naledi. He is the chairperson of the Greater Gauteng and Naledi Commuter Association.